Like this college football season has been in general, the Big 12 has the chance to have the most chaotic end to the regular season, with 8 teams still alive heading into today, and this weekend as a whole with 9 teams still alive heading into the weekend according to CBS Sports. While this video is coming out after the Colorado-Oklahoma State game, I thought we should go through the chaotic scenarios that could get each team into the Big 12 title game and how they got here. This is a true chaos scenario in college football. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you hope plays in the Big 12 title game in the comments section below. So heading into this weekend, the 9 teams still alive for the Big 12 title game include Arizona State, Iowa State, BYU, Colorado, Baylor, Kansas State, TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia, with more than 250 different scenarios that could lead to an 8-way tie at the top of the conference. So first, let's talk about the win and basically in scenarios. Arizona State controls their destiny heading into their rivalry game against Arizona that kicks off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Arizona State went 3-9 in 2023 and came into the season projected to finish 15th out of 16 teams in the Big 12. So what they have accomplished this season has been unreal. They started the season 3-0 with a blowout win over Wyoming and close wins over Mississippi State and Texas State, which all had people thinking once Big 12 play began, things would normalize themselves. While they would lose to Texas Tech on the road 30-22, they would beat Kansas and upset Utah before losing to Cincinnati 24-14. Following the loss to the Bearcats, Dillingham famously called out his place kicker, saying the team would be holding tryouts that Monday after 2 missed kicks in the fourth quarter led to Cincinnati's comeback. He would later apologize for those comments, saying, "I would like to apologize in my post-game press conference. I talked about our kicking game like I do offense-defense. However, the kicking game is always directed at one player. I should not have done that, and I apologize. This team's losses will always 100% fall on myself. Hashtag Sun Devil for life." At this point of the season, they seem to be out of the Big 12 race, but a 4-game win streak with upset wins over Kansas State and BYU this past weekend led to them quietly becoming the favorites to win the conference. If they win this weekend, they are in the conference title game and could play for a spot in the college football playoff. A truly remarkable turnaround compared to this time last year, when it looked like they could have a long rebuild on their hands. Quarterback Sam Levitt and running back Cam Scadaboo are key reasons for this turnaround. Iowa State is also a team that basically controls their own destiny. Iowa State came into the season projected to finish 4th in the Big 12 and closed the season out in Farmageddon playing Kansas State at 7:30 p.m. on Fox. For most of the season, Iowa State was seemingly in the driver's seat when it came to making the conference championship. They started the season 7-0, being ranked as high as number 9 in the AP poll. They pulled off a miraculous comeback over Iowa on the road to win the Cyhawk 20-19, giving them an important out-of-conference win and showing this team could survive chaotic situations. They would win their next 4 games in dominant fashion before surviving an upset bid by UCF, pulling out the win 38-35, would be upset by Texas Tech 23-22 at home. Then they would play Kansas at the worst time as the Jayhawks decided to wake up and pulled the first of 3 top 25 upsets, with the Cyclones being the first victim. After their 2-game skid that opened the Big 12 conference race back up, they would rebound with a win over Cincinnati and survived against Utah this past weekend. Rocco Beck has led the offense to averaging 31.4 points per game, but the defense has been their calling card all year long, as they are only allowing 19.5 points per game, which is 19th in the nation. BYU needs some help to find themselves in the Big 12 title game, as they will be the biggest Kansas State fans this weekend. With what the preseason expectations were, it is even amazing that they even find themselves in this situation. BYU hosts Houston at 10:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN this weekend, and came into the season projected to finish 14th in the Big 12, but miracles have kept them alive all season long. When the schedule came out, this Houston-BYU game did not look to be all that important, but it now has major conference significance. BYU started the season 9-0 with a major win over SMU in Week 2 on the road, a statement no one expected to be saying at the beginning of the year. BYU became a legitimate Big 12 conference contender when they destroyed number 13 Kansas State at home 38-9, which may be remembered by a Kansas State fan saying he'd stuff a beefy 5-layer burrito where the sun doesn't shine if they lost. Something he'd follow through with, by the way. They would then become known as the Cardiac Cougars, surviving against Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Utah, while also having a blowout win over Arizona and a 13-point win over UCF. All they had to do was continue to win to lock up their spot in the Big 12 title game and be the Cinderella story of the college football season. They would struggle in the red zone against Kansas when the Jayhawks finally decided to live up to preseason expectations, losing 17-13, ending their perfect season. They would then go down big to Arizona State before coming back and making it a game against the Sun Devils. Their Hail Mary attempt would come up short, and so did their ability to control their own destiny. They need either Arizona State or Iowa State to lose this weekend and a win over Houston to find themselves in the Big 12 title game. Colorado is where things begin to get really complicated, but it's not the most complicated situation. We're getting there. Just wait. Colorado came into the season projected to finish 13th in the Big 12, according to Phil Steele, after a 4-8 season last year in year one under head coach Deion Sanders. Like Arizona State and BYU, they were not expected to be here, and that is why we play the games, right? By the time this video comes out, Colorado and Oklahoma State would have already played, depending on when I choose to release it, as they play at noon on Black Friday in Boulder, but this was a last minute video idea by me, and I'm not perfect, but the situation will not be solved by today. Colorado started the season 1-1 after surviving against North Dakota State, and getting blown out by Nebraska and Lincoln, 28-10, before going on a 3-game win streak, blowing out Colorado State, coming back and beating Baylor in overtime after completing a Hail Mary at the end of regulation, and blowing UCF out when everyone was talking about how the Knights could be the Big 12 dark horse contenders. They would fall to Kansas State after coming back from being down 21-7, take a 28-24 lead with 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter, with the Wildcats driving down the field and scoring on a 50-yard touchdown pass by Avery Johnson to Jace Brown with 2 minutes and 14 seconds left. They would then go on a 4-game win streak, blowing everyone out, with those teams being Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, and Utah, but late season juggernaut Kansas would rear its ugly head once again, as they would beat Colorado down with their rushing attack, beating the Buffs 37-21. To find themselves in the Big 12 title game, they need a few things to happen. They need BYU to lose to Houston and need Texas Tech to beat West Virginia to make the title game. In a 3-way tie featuring Colorado, Iowa State, and Arizona State, it would be Colorado against either Iowa State or Arizona State. Common opponent records would be determined to separate the Cyclones from the Sun Devils. If West Virginia beats Texas Tech, then it would be Arizona State versus Iowa State. If all 4 teams win, then the Big 12 has determined that it would be Iowa State versus Arizona State. But what if complete and utter chaos erupts? Arizona beats Arizona State, Houston beats BYU, Oklahoma State beats Colorado, Kansas State beats Iowa State, Baylor beats Kansas, TCU beats Cincinnati, and the winner of the Texas Tech versus West Virginia game. Then there's an 8-way tie of teams with 6-3 conference records, meaning half the teams in the Big 12 would be tied for first. If Texas Tech wins, then the conference title would be Baylor versus Texas Tech, and if West Virginia wins, then the title game would be Baylor versus Kansas State. In that situation, then the Big 12 probably misses the college football playoffs, and we get 2 group of 5 teams in the college football playoff. There are also 5, 6, and 7-way tie scenarios, but no one has really broken down those tiebreakers yet. I'm already losing my mind trying to keep track of everything. Like I said earlier, the Big 12 has said there are 250 different scenarios that could play out this weekend in a chaotic Big 12, and I don't want this video being 2 hours long. Especially since, depending on when I choose to release it, most of these situations could be dead with the Colorado-Oklahoma State results. What do you think? Who wins the Big 12 conference title? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.